Welcome, welcome everybody out there. Welcome to the Law, Your Money, and You. This is the second in our series about coronavirus and how it's affecting our students out there. And I'm an attorney in Sharon, Massachusetts. And
Hi, I'm Camille Barron, a financial coordinator and a healthcare advisor, also in Massachusetts. And we do have a full house today, Roberta.
don't we? We got a nice full
Why
house.
don't you go around and introduce each of our guests and ask them to tell a little bit about themselves?
Okay. Well, first I want to introduce them and then we'll come back to them. Natania Perlman, she is a second-year student in a master's program at William James College. She'll tell us about it, a small college in Newton, Massachusetts. Then I don't know how everybody sees how I see here, but underneath that is Becca Greenberg. She's our operations director of the Law, Your Money, and You. She's overseeing everything and taking notes. And then we have Mike Wilbur, who's been on the show before. He's doing his last year of law school at Roger Williams. And then we have Tate Breyer, who's a first-year student at University of Arizona. He's finishing it up, and he's going to let us know what's happening along those ends, which is typical. And then we have Kailey Breyer, who is in her last year and would have graduated and is graduating, but they just canceled the graduation. She's an engineering major at USCal, University, USC. I don't know, it's in California, but it's a school that a lot of people would like to go to. And now we're going to go back. I'll let Camille start with, you want to start with Natania, Camille?
Sure. Natania, welcome.
Hi, thank you for
Why don't
having
you
me.
tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I am a second-year part-time student going into my third and last year at William James College, formerly known as the Massachusetts School of Professional Psychology. And I'm going to get my master's degree in clinical mental health counseling and emphasizing in couples and family therapy so that I can get dual licensure as an LMHC and an LMFT.
Wonderful. So are you home now rather than at school?
Yes, I am home now. So I am in a in-person program, which means that normally I go to campus in Newton for all my classes. But about 6 weeks ago, we decided to turn into the online format because of the coronavirus. And so now next week we'll be ending the semester with online classes.
Okay. And how about you, Michael?
I actually just finished up my law school career yesterday at Roger Williams. That was my last day of classes.
Congratulations.
And thank you. It was hard. So we very similarly, we went on our spring break. And in the middle of our spring break, kind of got emails saying we're going online. We will try to come back at the end of the semester. And that lasted maybe 2 weeks. Then we were told like there's no chance. Our graduation got...
What are they going to do for grades?
So that a lot of the law schools around the country kind of had to get together and talk about it. And so we've gone to mandatory pass-fail, which kind of stinks for somebody like me because I go into classes I really care about. I want to be the first in the class. I strive for like specific awards for it. And, you know, it kind of took away that impetus. Our graduation got canceled.
Yeah.
My bar exam got canceled. And so it's stressful, but it's one of those things where you use tactics that you have in your back pocket for other normal stressful times and just work through it.
The bar exam in Massachusetts got canceled for July, but they don't say it's canceled. They say it's postponed.
They postponed it.
In the Massachusetts and Rhode Island one, or just which ones are you taking?
So my plan initially was to take the universal bar in Massachusetts, and that would cover me for Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New York, all those places. And then I would still have to take California, because even if it's not an immediate goal, I do want to get back to working in TV and film in a legal role, and that would stick me out there.
Oh, we got to come back to you But,
We'll come back to everybody. We
yeah,
want to hear more
we will
from
be coming
Natasha
back
too.
to everybody. This is like an overview of what's going on out there.
Yes.
But Camille,
Kailey, does his story sound familiar to you, being a final year student and not being able to go to graduation?
Graduation canceled, everything online. Yep, pretty much the same thing. And we also have pass fail too. Except,
Oh,
the pass fail I feel like weighs more on a graduate student, because for us, like, the rankings aren't as important as
yeah.
did this, Kailey, did this change your plans, the coronavirus, what you were gonna do and what you are doing now?
Well, actually, I didn't have plans like set up yet, and I was kind of just like counting on faith, like, we'll see what happens when time comes, because I have a company on the side, so I was just hoping that I would be good to just stick with that. And actually, coronavirus has actually kind of helped it, because now it's online.
Yeah, it's always good. Sometimes the most important lessons that we learn are things we learn outside the classroom, and flexibility and being able to adapt to circumstances and still make a go of things is probably one of the biggest lessons you've learned, not by your choice, but you've still learned it.
Exactly. And I feel like coronavirus showed that, like, how quickly you could rebound to going online. It like made a big impact in my business.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, she took the lemon and made it into lemonade, but that's later. Yeah. But now we got Tate.
Now Tate, who's just finished first year at school, right, Tate?
Yeah, we got like a week left.
Yeah.
Classes, everything also went online. I'm really happy about it. I'm all good with it. I only need 60% in every class to get a pass. So I'm all good. I really haven't been doing any work. All my classes are online. I've just been playing video games. I'm having a great time.
Would you say are you a typical student there?
Yeah, I'd say that most kids at the University of Arizona are having a great time. We are sad though, because I like school more than I like sitting in my bed at home, but it's okay.
What about the dorms and everything? Did you have an opportunity to get all your stuff out?
Yeah, I snuck in the last day to get all my stuff out, but after the day I left and packed up all my stuff, they said that no one else is allowed in those dorms and that they're packing up everyone's things and sending them home to them.
You just made it under the wire.
Yeah, just snuck in and got my stuff out.
Good, very good. So we have quite a cross section here, Roberta, between people who have been living at a university across the country, down south, and then we have Natania, who's been local. And Natania, can you tell us a little bit more what the experience has been like for you, changing from going to school every day and having a regular routine, and now being at home and things being totally different?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing with my program is it's affected more of our internships than it has the classroom.
Oh.
So we can do our classes online, and yeah, it's not people's preferred method. A lot of people signed up for this school because it is an experiential learning in-person thing. But a lot of internship sites had to be closed down, and for someone in the mental health field, it's a big deal, because we have a lot of clients now that either have to do telehealth, which means that they can only get their therapy essentially the way we're doing it now.
Right.
Through
you have more clients now? You think there'll be more clients out there now?
Oh, absolutely. And I'm already working to get certified in telehealth, and also to get a certification in after crisis management. So what do you do after a national disaster, kind of like Katrina or the Boston Marathon bombings? It affects people in a different way than our daily lives. So I'm taking some courses to kind of boost my knowledge on that to help people, because it is definitely going to have an aftershock.
This is another example of something similar to what Kailey has done. Is she's taken a bad situation now and made something positive come out of it. And that sounds like what you're doing too, Natania.
Yeah, really just trying to stay on top of it so that when the time comes that we can start seeing more clients again, we're all prepared for whatever it is that people have been going through.
What is telehealth? By phone? Treatment by phone?
It can be by telephone or it can be by video, essentially the way we're doing it right now.
Right? Isn't that popular now?
Yeah. So a lot of insurances didn't cover it, but because of the pandemic, it is now becoming the go-to. And I think after everything settles down, insurance companies are going to realize this is a necessary thing that we have to offer, because we reach a population that so many people who need help but can't, get transportation to an office, or they have weird hours, they can get help doing it this way.
Yeah. I was talking to Becca the other day about that, and she says, well, there's certain issues, what if they're supposed to be examining you? What if it's a personal examination?
Yeah, I mean, HIPAA compliance is still in effect. Privacy and confidentiality is something that we have to work with. So a lot of clients are having the difficulty of, they have kids or significant others, or roommates, they don't live by themselves, and they're talking about personal issues. They're not going to be comfortable the way they would be in a private room with you face to face. So it does impact the sessions.
Sure, definitely.
Go to now, Camille. Is she down to your left corner, or she's up on my right hand left corner?
Oh, she's up on the upper left screen on my screen.
Oh, so this is good. The other one, sometimes they're at different corners, and you say, why is she looking over there? But Michael, do you live at home?
No, I just moved actually about 6 months ago to Providence, Rhode Island. So I have my own space and my own house, actually. Nobody else lives here.
Great. Yeah. And so what's it like for you now?
For a while. So actually, I may have actually had the sickness. Before school went online and everything, a friend of mine and I run a sports and entertainment kind of like society group at our school. And they sent us to an ESPN conference in Boston, it was great. It was fantastic, the people that we could meet and all. But one of the settings that we had sessions was with an NBA player and his agent. And at the time it was really, really cool, helpful. But 5 days after that, it came out that that player and his agent tested positive. And I was like, oh, well, great. So like there went my experience. A week after that, I had a fever, 100 to 103 for about 10 days. Fever broke in 3 days.
When was that, Michael?
Just 2 weeks ago.
Sounds familiar.
Oh boy.
And then my fever broke. I got tested and it came out negative, but my doctor basically said, well, your fever broke, so I can't give you an answer.
Yeah.
So that made classes and things hard. But my kind of saving grace for a while was my internship allowed me to work remotely. And I work corporate counsel for a retailer down in Rhode Island here. And it was a lot of work, a lot of things going on, but the work was knowing that you were actually helping people. Like you were keeping sanitizer in stock in a store. You were abating rent for people and companies that can't pay it. It was really kind of rewarding and helpful 9 to 5 kind of a structure, which a lot of people didn't have. But also there's the reality of being in a pandemic. And even as a retailer that's considered essential, we had to furlough most people. So at that point, that was 2 weeks ago, just after I had finished being sick. So it made it really, really hard at that point, because when you're only in classes maybe 4 or 5 hours a day, it's hard to motivate yourself to do things. And I love what I do. I love what I study. I don't feel like I have to work when I work. I truly feel like I am fulfilled energy wise with it. And so having that minimal interaction with something that, pushes you forward, that you love doing, it takes the toll. And so you got to find other ways to fill your time, to fill your sanity. And it's a lot of reading. A lot of them a big Deepak Chopra, meditation and that kind of stuff person. So
you have a history of being a motivator. You're a good example of self-motivation.
Yes, he is.
He's
Yeah.
he's been on the show a few times, and against you always seem to hit some adversity, but you always come out fantastic.
It's just an idea of, I use the example a lot, and it could be a cliche, but there are people like Tom Brady out there where you are just this forgotten guy who you give it your all, and nobody sees that all until you make your chance in the limelight. And so from that, I've always taken the idea of, as long as you're working as hard as you can, as long as you're proud of what you're doing, maybe you got a day in the limelight, maybe you don't, but you can at least always walk away with that satisfaction of, I did my best in whatever I did. So that's what pushes me all the time, is limelight or not, I want to be able to say that I did my best. And if I can say that coming away from something, that's all that matters.
Love it.
Tate, how are they doing the mocks for undergraduate?
Well, you get at U of A, at University of Arizona, you get to decide right now. You can keep your grades, or for this semester only, you can turn them into pass-fail grades, which is nice. So I got a 3.75 last semester. This semester, I'm just going to turn everything into pass-fail and then keep my 3.75, which is really nice. So again, like, just keep bringing it back to me. I'm having a great time. I'm playing Xbox and video games, watching Hulu. I'm having a great time. I'm having a blast.
He's being taken care of no matter what.
Yeah. One of the things that people find, and outside of even this pandemic, but people who are used to having a structured environment and a structured schedule, some people have said, gee, it's kind of different, and I don't feel as motivated. I don't feel like I'm getting as much done sometimes. Does anybody have that experience? Natania's saying yes. Have you? Really?
Oh, yeah. It's easy to just be like, you know what? The alarm's going off, but I don't have to be anywhere. So I'll just hit snooze a few more times.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, 3 hours have gone by and half the day is gone. So, and I find that a lot of my clients and a lot of people that are having trouble right now, that's one of the things that we tell them is we have to keep the structure, even if that means doing it in a new way.
It's funny that you refer to them as clients and not patients.
Yeah, so it depends on where
everything's changing. I noticed, like, the bar exams, when I took the bar exam many, many years ago, and I know I only look 28, but I've been around more than 50. I took it 50. I was one of the first women, but you just took it from Massachusetts, and that was it. But Mike, you're saying that there's a the universal bar exam thing, and both Kailey and Tate come from law backgrounds. Tate, are you going in the law office at all and helping out?
There's no one in there right now.
Everybody's at home.
The office, everyone's at home.
Wow.
Are they working from home?
Everyone's working from home.
Yeah, his folks have a husband and wife law team.
Yeah.
Even they're working from home.
Right. So they're working from home. They got people, but Tate was going in there and helping out to earn his keep.
I did it for the snacks. I did it for the snacks.
Yeah, they
That's
have
a good reason. Good enough reason. Plus the party.
Get back to Kailey.
Kailey.
Tell them why you went into engineering and what's changed that you're out of engineering. Or will that help you?
Well, I only went into engineering because I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I was good at math and science. Like, that was all I knew. So I was like, okay, like, I'll just start with engineering. And by year 2, I was like, I need to switch to business. But then it was like too late. I would have to switch all my credits. So I was just like, honestly, like, let me just stick with this and be a woman in engineering. And honestly, like, for me, it's not that hard because it just comes to me.
A lot of girls couldn't do that.
Yeah, so I just like, I stuck it through, but like a year ago I like was like, okay, I do not want to be an engineer. Like, what can I do? So like, I'm graduating college with like something like that I'm really passionate about. And then I started a company where I host events for young girls, and now I'm like really like, now I've now I really feel like the passion where it's like I want to work all the time. I'm like, I missed wanting to work hard, so it feels good because when I wasn't passionate about engineering, it was like so draining to go to class. Like, I'm so happy like things have moved online because it's taken so much stress off my shoulders, and now I can like put all my focus to the thing I'm actually passionate about. So yeah.
Well, I was just going to ask you, Kailey, given that you've been in California for 4 years, and you've obviously developed friendships, a social life, a whole different life, and now you're back. How does that feel for you? Do you miss that?
It's funny because I like, my last year of college, I'm with people all the time, and now it's like all my attention's on myself, and I'm obsessed with it. I've never worked harder, and I'm like, I need to stop hanging out with people more because like I love focusing on myself and like working hard. I'm honestly, I feel like I'm at this time in my life because I'm about to end college anyways, where like I don't need to be like spending time with people doing all these things because to me they're just distractions like from doing what I really need to be focused on and like making an impact and like doing what makes me feel good.
I wanna brag. These two are my grandchildren, but
So these two is Tate.
these two, we could see the Bryers. But when we visited Kailey, what was it, 2 years ago or a year ago, and my son was in LA too. We do the Lawyer, Money, and You, as a lot of people know, do the book Police Officers Are Our Friends, and a coloring book, and it just so happened that police officers were blocking off her street. So I immediately go, police officers are our friends, and this and that, and she happened to have a book, and like I said before, both of them do work for the Lawyer, Money, and You. And from that, the fellow there was the agent, the police, whatever he was, for the concentrator for the LA police, the Northeast Division. And from that, we're working on a book for the LAPD. And when I told him that Kailey was graduating, he said, oh, she's going to be good no matter what she decides to do. So I passed that on. So we're like all over. And she was kind of influential in having him be excited about the book and bring it back. But anyway, this is just so thrilling. And I mean, everybody here today is a mover. It is a mover there, and I always say these students are our future. This is what happens. So I'll turn it back to Camille.
Yeah, sure. So we have, again, we have a spread geographically, and we also have different age groups. We have Tate, who's just finishing his first year, and then we have others who are further along. Tate, you're not quite at the same point, say, as your sister is, but how do you think that something really positive for you in your future can come out of this?
Well, honestly, that's a great question. My life was going really good before this virus. I was having a lot of fun at school. Like my grades were good.
Wow.
As a freshman in college, I think like while good can come from this is really just hurting me. Like I'm kind of mad. I wish I was at school. I missed like my friends. I miss having fun. I miss like being in my frat.
Mm-hmm.
So while like there is good and I do want to see the good, I'm mad and I wish I could go to concerts and have fun like the 19-year-old kid I am, and I'm tired of sitting in this bed.
Yeah. Well, it's very normal to have those feelings. I mean, everybody's trying to put a positive spin on something that is all but positive. And
then we had at the other one, there was a few of them. One was in the rowing. She can't, even though she can't graduate, the graduation's canceled, she misses her athletic rowing. And Michaela, who was a senior, that was a senior in college. The senior in high school was supposed to be captain of the tennis team, and there's no tennis team now. and you got Michael who is working and building his probably a clientele, and Natania, whose life is on hold, and Tate, who misses it. Kailey, do you miss anything? We got Kailey. We're going to do. We'll probably do more shows on this with more people, but we got one coming up with Kailey, what she's done with the lemon, and she's made lemonade out of it. She's really made something.
Well, ask her what she did.
Ask her. Go tell us a little bit what you do, and then Camille can wind up.
Okay. Yeah. So I was thinking it's funny because everyone's impacted so differently. And I think I was like thinking in my head, like what you said, like someone is like about to be tennis, whatever their sport is or whatever they had going for them. And I wasn't affected like that, but I still think I'm the type of person that if I would have switched it around immediately. But so pretty much I was hosting in-person events for young girls. And now I'm pretty much moved them to online events, and I partnered with subscription boxes to send out an activity for the event. And it's amazing because now the 10 to 15-year-old girls don't need a ride there and back. And I was already having a hard time because there were girls coming from 2 hours each way. So it was like so spread out, so many different cities. And I was like trying to like centralize it. I'm like, how am I going to move to this city? Like I was just like confused. And now that it's online, it's like my market is the entire nation, the entire world, honestly, and they don't need rides anymore. So I'm.
and you know what's interesting? She's targeted a group that there's nothing out there for them. They're too young to start pushing college, and she said 10 to 15.
Yeah, they don't go to sports. Like they have nothing to do. They're always sitting at home, and now because of social media, they're always on their phone. So like my purpose in doing this is to create something where they can disconnect from social media and create real connections with girls. And now they can create real connections with girls all around the world. Like, so, and have
What kind of events do you host?
So we have different like memberships and like subscriptions. So for example, we have like a baking membership, so they can get a different baking thing. Like for Mother's Day, we're decorating cookies and packaging them for our moms. And then there's like a science club where they get science activities. We all do them. And, you wouldn't think 10 to 15-year-old girls are interested, but because, like, I am an engineering major, it's cool to spread it to them in a fun way. And then there's also, like, the book club, which it's so funny. They're so excited about it. You wouldn't think 10 to 15-year-old girls want to read and, like, talk about books and ask what they thought, but they love it. And so I'm, like, compiling, like, notebooks, books, like, pens, like, little packages to send to them. So then when they catch up, they all have their book and their pens, and, like, that's what they do through a Zoom call.
Fantastic. Amazing. Camille, listen, everybody, when she ends, when you say, remember, this is Yasha, the light, money, and you, when she says in you, everybody got a point.
To the camera.
To the camera.
And we say and you together.
And we'll be getting back to all of you to see what you've done in a few months.
That's right. We want to continue to follow up. It's very, very enlightening to listen to what all of you had to say today. Different experiences, different takeaways, but sooner, once things get back to some degree of normal, whatever that is, it won't be like it was for sure. I think that we'll look back and say, yes, I'm a better person because of this. I learned something and I took something positive away. Thank you all very much. And to our viewers, thank you for watching. This is one of our continuing series on the coronavirus and how it impacts our daily lives and the economy personally. And please let us know if you have any thoughts about this, if you have any other ideas for topics related to coronavirus. We want to hear from you because remember, this is your show, the law, your money, and you.